was dead. They went home and re-racked and read.
After leaving the Bluegrass Boys, Bill Keith joined the Jim Kweskin Jug Band for 4 years, 1964 to 1968, where he played rhythm on a plectrum banjo. Bill participated in the recording of 3 albums: Jug Band Music in 1965, See Reverse Side for Title in 1966, and Garden of Joy in 1967.
Let's take it out now.
Fiddler Richard Greene, who was a member of Bill Monroe's Bluegrass Boys from February 1966 to March 1967, then joined the Jim Kweskin Jug Band and took part in the recording of this later album. During this period, Bill Keith also took part in jam sessions at festivals, where he also performed with his colleague Jim Rooney. We have live recordings made at the Newport Folk Festival in 1964 and 1965. At the 1964 Newport Folk Festival, Bill did a jam session with the Kentucky Colonels. Their live album, Long Journey Home for Vanguard, contains 4 tracks with Bill, including the first known version of Nola and Auld Lang Syne, with the Keith's D tuners. At the 1965 Newport Folk Festival, Bill played with the Kweskin Jug Band on Saturday, July 24th. On another stage, he played with Jim Rooney an instrumental version of Little Sadie, recorded on the Vanguard album, Folk Music at Newport, Part 1. Early Dog, released in 1980 by Sugar Hill Records, features 4 short instrumentals recorded live in 1966. With David Grisman on mandolin, Bill Keith on banjo and Artie Rose on guitar. 2 tracks are early compositions by David Grisman, Sugar Hill Ramble and Opus 57, influenced by Django Reinhardt. A more elaborate version of Little Sadie includes a Baroque exploration of Jesse McReynolds' cross-picking mandolin style, and a first-ever banjo interpretation of Duke Ellington's Caravan. In 1966, Bill Keith took part, with Fiddler Tater Tate, as a session musician in the recording of 2 tracks for a Gloria Bell EP. By 1969, Bill had been playing pedal steel guitar for 2 or 3 years. Bill and Jim Rooney were scheduled to play a concert at New York's Washington Square Church. Jim Rooney recalls, "We thought it would be fun to do a split concert, half bluegrass and folk and half country." Bill suggested that Eric Weisberg join us. On the afternoon of the concert, Fiddler Richard Greene, who plays in New York in a rock band called Sea Train, joins this circumstantial band for the concert. Later, the band is offered the opportunity to sign with Warner Brothers Records for an album. The Blue Velvet Band is born.
Went out one night to make a little round. I met little Sadie and I shot her down. Went back home, I got into bed, 44 pistol under my head. Waked up next morning about 9:30. The hacks and the buggies all standing in line. Gents and the gamblers standing around, taking little Sadie to a burying ground.
At the end of 1968, Bill Keith played on 2 songs from the Bee Gees' Odessa album, Marley Pert Drive and Give Your Best. From 1971 to 1973, Bill played banjo and pedal steel guitar with folk rock singer Jonathan Edwards, with whom he recorded 3 albums: Jonathan Edwards, 1971, Honky Tonk Stardust Cowboy, 1972, Have a Good Time for Me, 1973.
Like a storm-lost bird, I can't find my nest. I just get home to you.
In 1969, Bill Keith played pedal steel as a guest on the Great American Eagle Tragedy. This was the last album by Earth Opera, a psychedelic folk rock band formed by 2 of Bill's fellows, David Grisman and Peter Rowan, after his tenure with Bill Monroe, 1964 to 67. In early '72, an ad hoc group of Woodstock friends and neighbors recorded Mud Acres, Music Among Friends, released by Rounder Records. Jim Rooney writes, "Artie Trom came up with the idea of recording the music we played when we got together at each other's houses. A bunch of us went up and spent a weekend at a little 4-track studio north of Albany. It was Happy and Artie, Bill Keith and me, John Harold, Maria Mulder Kaz, Tony Brown, and Lee Berg. Over the course of 2 or 3 days and nights, we recorded 15 or 20 songs and had a wonderful time doing it." Bill Keith plays on 8 of the 15 tracks on the album. Out of Joint is a challenging all-banjo instrumental composed by himself.